All right, for all you Gulfstream G200 operators out there, listen up, because this is a big one. On September 1st, 2025, a critical, new, and mandatory airworthiness directive was issued that affects the entire G200 fleet. So today, we're going to break down exactly what this means for your operations.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. We'll start with what this new directive actually is. Then, we'll get into the why, the structural risks it's meant to prevent. After that, we'll cover the specific actions your different teams need to take, the all-important 90-day timeline, and we'll wrap up with the key takeaways for leadership.
All right, let's jump right in. First up, what exactly is this new mandatory directive?
Okay, let's get one thing straight right out of the gate. This is not optional. The Civil Aviation Authority of Israel, the CAAI, has mandated this action for every single G200 and Galaxy aircraft. There are no exceptions, no serial numbers left out. This applies to everyone.
Now, just in case you need a quick refresher, what exactly is an Airworthiness Directive, or AD? Well, think of it as a legally binding rule. It's issued when a potential unsafe condition is found, and complying with it is an absolute requirement to keep your aircraft legally airworthy.
And here are the specifics of this particular AD. The official name is ISR I-05-2025-09-1. It applies to all G200 and Galaxy models, and the subject is a required revision to the Airworthiness Limitations Section of your maintenance manual. The effective date for this was September 1st, 2025.
Okay, so that's the what. Now let's get into the why. Why did this suddenly drop? Well, it all boils down to one thing: mitigating structural risk.
You know, you don't even have to dig deep to find the reason. The directive says it right there in black and white. Its purpose is to ensure continued airworthiness and prevent potential structural risks. This is all about being proactive and using the latest data to keep these aircraft safe.
So, what's actually changing here? Well, think of it like this. The old inspection program was fine, but it was based on older data. This new program, which is built around the AMM Revisions 38 and 39, is a whole different ballgame. It brings in new findings, changes up inspection methods, adds completely new locations to check, and even tweaks the timing of those checks. It's a much more robust approach to ensuring structural integrity.
All right, so we've covered the what and the why. Now for the really important part. What do you and your team actually have to do?
And believe me, this isn't something one person or one department can handle alone. This directive touches pretty much everyone, from the engineers on the floor to the folks handling the contracts.
Okay, let's talk to our camo and engineering folks first. Your to-do list is pretty specific. Step 1, you have to get your hands on AMM Revision 39 and review it inside and out. Step 2, you've got to formally incorporate those new ALS sections into your maintenance program. And Step 3, start planning now for how you're going to actually implement these new inspection tasks.
Now, for our safety management teams, your job is to look at this from a higher level. You'll need to get your safety management system updated to reflect these newly identified risks and the steps we're taking to mitigate them. You also need a rock-solid process for reporting any findings from these new inspections. And just as important, you have to communicate why this is happening to everyone involved.
And we can't forget about the folks in commercial and leasing. This has some serious financial and contractual implications. You've got to start crunching the numbers on potential costs and any downtime. And this is a big one. You have to double-check every single lease agreement, both the ones you have now and any new ones, to make sure compliance with this AD is clearly covered.
All right, let's talk about the timeline because this is where things get really serious.
This is probably the most important slide in this whole briefing. The clock started on September 1st, 2025. That kicked off a 90-day window for compliance, and that leads to a hard, non-negotiable deadline of November 30th, 2025. And I have to say it again, there are no extensions on this.
Yep, just 90 days. That's it. That's all the time you've got to get this done. The clock is absolutely ticking.
Okay, let's wrap this up with a high-level view. This is the stuff leadership really needs to grab onto.
When you look at it from a strategic level, this directive really impacts 3 key areas of the business. From a safety perspective, it's a mandatory action that tackles known risks. Operationally, it demands urgent integration to keep your service uninterrupted and legal. And financially, it requires immediate cost planning for your maintenance budgets and a review of all your contracts.
So what's the bottom line here? Let's make it super simple. This is a mandatory safety action for every G200, period. Getting it done on time isn't just a good idea, it's non-negotiable.
Your ability to keep flying and stay in good standing with regulators absolutely depends on it.
Now, if your tech teams hit a snag or have some really specific questions as they dig into this, here's your official point of contact. Mr. Shaul Pascal at the CAAI is the person to talk to. We've got his email right there for you.
And that really just leaves us with one final, and I think pretty urgent question. That November 30th deadline is coming up fast, so I have to ask, is your compliance plan locked in and ready to go?